Good evening, welcome to the latest live edition of Last Bar Boxing. Quite a few of us this week, look. So we got Daz. Good evening, Daz.
All right, mate.
We've got Sean. Good evening, Sean.
Evening, guys.
We've got Lee. Good evening, Lee.
Evening, guys.
And last and definitely least, we got Andy. So there's only one place to start this week, isn't there, guys? The much anticipated fight on Sunday night, which I know Andy enjoyed. So we've got Fury versus Jake Paul. So he makes out I didn't see it, but I'm sure he'll give his 10 pence worth. But we'll start with you, Sean. So what did you think of the fight, Sean? Give us a breakdown. Did it live up to expectation? And does the rematch happen? Over to you, Sean.
Yeah, well, I think the rematch does happen because it's the biggest fight for both of them. Let's be honest. In terms of the fight, I thought it was fairly evenly matched. To be honest, I thought it was two guys at a similar level. I don't think either of them looked like levels above each other. Put it that way. And yeah, it just was what it was, wasn't it? Just a bit of entertainment for sports fans in general, really.
Yeah, what did you think of the undercard, Sean? It wasn't particularly great, but Maccabi wasn't a bad fight, was it?
No. I mean, I think that fight sort of showed where the cruiserweights are at. Really, it wasn't particularly great, and I think any of the British guys will want to face Badou Jack next. I think.
Fair enough. Coming on to you, Lee. Lee, you know, it is what it is. The fight, wasn't it? What did you think of it?
Wasn't a great fight, but it wasn't awful either. It wasn't as bad as the Floyd Mayweather one on Saturday. That was terrible. But as a spectacle, I thought it was done really well. I thought they put on a good show. The whole sort of build up to it and the way they promoted it, I thought it was good. Got everyone talking about it. But yeah, it was what it was. And they will get it on again because they make too much money not to.
You've got a lot of big names, Lee, coming out in let's call it traditional boxing, saying that there is lessons to be learned for fighters regarding marketing yourself. Would you agree?
I would, but it's easier said than done, isn't it? Because you look at Jake Paul, for example, he's come from that background. So it's easy to sort of say when you're already a popular household name, but when you're a boxer and you're trying to focus on boxing, it's going to be difficult to kind of get that momentum going. I mean, someone like Vidal Riley, he knows how to do it. Do you know what I mean? And again, he was quite popular outside the ring already. But yes, I think that's easier said than done.
Dad's coming on to you, obviously, as a trainer at the minute, attending a lot of small old shows. What were your thoughts on it in terms of standards? And, you know, there is a lot to be learned, isn't there, regarding marketing yourself for some of these fighters?
Yeah, I mean, I were quite vocal leading up to it about the fact that Tommy Fury should have been putting him away when he wanted to. And I was disappointed he didn't. To be fair, I'm a massive advocate. Listen, Tommy Fury's a boxer. He's been boxing since he was 13, 14. He knows the fundamentals. Jake Paul, I mean, Jake Paul didn't look great, but neither did Tommy Fury. But from a trainer's point of view, I don't understand how Tommy Fury. If you look in the first bit of it, Tommy Fury was landing that jab on him, landing a single jab. Why not go again and then put right hand behind it and stop him and do boxing a favour? It all. I mean, I'm old school with boxing. I don't like this. I don't like it, and I think someone's going to get hurt at some point. But you know, it is what it is. But the marketing side, yeah, I do think that could probably learn. Some fighters could learn a little bit from all this. But then again, am I being an hypocrite by saying that? Am I not wanting, Jake Paul in a boxing ring and all that? But yeah, I want boxers to get the fair share, the fair shake. Because let's be right, I think we all could name a few light heavyweights who we've seen that probably would have beaten both fairly handily on that night.
Yeah. and coming to you finally, Andy, I know you didn't see the show, but
No,
it ain't going nowhere, this
I
type of
genuinely
fighting, is
didn't.
it? I said it ain't
Say again,
going
mate,
nowhere,
sorry.
though, is it? Say again.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said then.
I said, so I know you didn't see the fight, but we have to acknowledge that this type of boxing, however you want to call it, isn't going nowhere. So, you know, is it a case where you have to like it or lump it, or just don't watch it if you don't want to see it?
Well, I can only speak for myself, mate. I won't be watching any of it ever because I'm a boxing purist. And I do believe it takes away shows that should be that promoters should be making shows on, but proper boxing shows. These boxers sat waiting for fights and they can't get fights. But you get something like this, and you can show it up, you can build it up as much as you want, Cole. I ain't even seen it, right? I've heard a lot on social media and I've heard a lot on the likes of TalkSport and blah, 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 whatever. I don't care what anybody says. He's not even English level.
Who's that, Tommy or Jake?
Both of them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Neither of them would win an English title right now. Neither of them.
No, I agree with that, but I do think that Tommy is and will be half decent. I've seen it. Yeah, I think it could be, but I do agree with you. But I'm also like this. I try and stay away from conversation for the simple fact I am going to look like an hypocrite. I'm not going to lie to you because I absolutely detest the fact that Jake Paul can, 3-4 years ago, be on YouTube miming Britney Spears songs, and then suddenly he's a professional boxer on a platform like that. But had we got a call for the right fight at the right time for Nicola to box on that show,
You'd rip their arm off.
Would have been ripping around. Yeah, of course we would. Because of the audience that she'd have been seen by as well. And
also, let's have it right, Dad. Also, the money she'll make, and she's a prize fighter who wants to secure a future.
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. So I'll freely admit I'm going to look like an hypocrite, and I'm a bit of one because of that. But it's not. I don't think it's going away. I think it needs to be governed a little bit stricter. I think, and all.
The frustrating thing for me, and I said it on the show last week, and I got a little bit irate, and it probably didn't come across the way it should have come across. But the annoying thing for me is that certain people in boxing, ex-boxers, very high-profile ex-boxers that have won multiple world titles, a number of them as well. I'm not thinking about one. I'm thinking about a number of them. They're all jumping on this bandwagon, saying it's good for boxing. It brings new eyes to boxing. I'm not convinced it does. It brings new eyes. It brings eyes to a Jake Paul card. Yes. Does it? Yeah. Do those people that have signed up for that are his followers on social media? Do they then buy into boxing in general and watch other shows? I'm not convinced.
No. When you put it like that, no. I probably sort of agree with that. I'll admit I did watch it. I wanted to watch the Badou Jack Makubu fight. And my missus even stayed up and watched it. She likes Tommy and Molly May, so we watched it. I proper thought that Tommy were just going to blast him away in 2 or 3 rounds, and he should have done. He should have done.
He's tougher than people gave him credit for.
He is. Yeah, I'll give you that. But
he's not better.
No, he is tough. But Tommy Tommy landed a clean jab on him. The guy's got no defense whatsoever.
Tommy was nervous as well. You could tell, and you.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. He had a lot of pressure. He had a lot of pressure, but that's when you've got to believe in your fundamentals, what you've learned. You're in there with somebody who is not, he's not even in the same league as Tommy skill wise. To be fair,
I think it'd destroy him in a rematch. I think he'd be a lot more confident, a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
I'd give
that a fair shake. Yeah, definitely.
But I do think he's going to get bigger. People like us might not like the fact, but it's going to get bigger and bigger. I'll just take Joe's point in the sidebar. So Joe says, first time my 3 kids have sat down and watched a fight with me. They only watched the main event though. Best 20 quid I've spent with my clothes on.
I mean, I do think Jake Paul needs to get this idea about Carl Froch out of his brain. Because he'll get seriously hurt.
You will.
So why is Carl Froch even entertaining going back and arguing with the guy?
I think I tell you why I think
money.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, from watching Carl Froch from the early days, I'm pretty sure Carl's got a nasty streak, and he's a real nasty piece of work when he wants to be inside that ring. And to be honest with you, mate, I mean, if he sees this on Twitter or whatever, he can correct me if he's wrong. But I do believe Carl Froch would jump at chance to get in there.
Of course he would.
To bash him up proper and say, now get you sent back to YouTube land.
Of course he would.
So, commenting aside, Azzy Unboxing, good evening, Azza. To Andy's point about influencer boxing, not bringing in eyes to the sport, my first boxing fight I watched was KSI Logan Paul, and I'm here, a hardcore boxing fan with good knowledge.
He is as well.
Welcome
to be
to
fair,
boxing,
I know
mate.
Azzy, and he does know his stuff.
I'm sure it brings a few, but we're talking about millions and millions and millions that buy his fights. Are we seeing pay-per-view buys on normal shows go up by millions? No is the answer. Are you seeing DAZN buys go up by millions? No is the answer.
Are we seeing that sort of shows?
Sorry, Misfits boxing you are.
Oh, Misfits, but I'm talking about the crossover, Carl. Talking about people that watch Misfits that are not boxing fans. They're YouTube influencer fans. I'm talking about where they go from that point. You're not seeing subscriptions go up, are you, on normal boxing shows? That's the point I'm making. So this argument about it brings new eyes to boxing, I just don't agree with. It might do a few, like has it. Great, brilliant. Fantastic, but it's not doing for the majority, in my opinion.
But you even had Richie Woodall, didn't you, on commentating on Sunday, saying things like what a great fight this was, etc., etc. And that does puzzle me.
But this is what I'm talking about. Richie Woodall. Richie Woodall is very, very, very well respected. Yeah. His boxing knowledge is outstanding. He's great on commentary. Why is he saying stuff like that?
The commentary was really, really poor. They were trying to give props to Jake Paul the whole way through. The commentary was terrible. It was appalling.
I think
they want to be back on the next show, don't they?
Yeah.
That's what I was just going to say. Most of the boxing commentators say what the show wants them to say.
They have an agenda, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I love Teddy Atlas. Absolutely love Teddy Atlas.
There's a couple of things that
on that note, Teddy Atlas has come out and said Jake Paul gained credibility by his performance on Sunday.
He did.
He's tough, yeah. He showed he's tough. So, but
he did gain credibility.
But being tough,
credibility is a strong word.
Yeah, he showed he's tougher than I thought he was.
But he didn't show that he belonged in the ring, did he?
Listen, we could go and grab. I know plenty of kids from where I live who are tough lads, but you put them in a ring and they're not lasting a round or two with, people who probably aren't considered as good as what Tommy is. Do you know what I mean?
It's an interesting word, isn't it? Interesting choice of language when he says credibility.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen a lot of leading up to that fight, I seen a lot of people saying that Jake were going to win, and it was like, all right. I don't really know how to.
That's because they bought into the That's because they bought into the crap.
Yeah. I mean, to me, and I might be totally wrong. I might be totally off ball here, but it seemed like Tommy didn't even want to try and stop him. To me, it just didn't seem like it.
That's treading a very fine line there, isn't it?
Well,
you know,
listen, it is what it is. I say what I think, and to me,
I actually agree with you, but
I don't know. I just don't like. But like I say, I'll be a bit of an hypocrite because I'd happily have Nicola on one of their shows in the right fight, for the right money for her. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Jake Paul's got.
I'll give Jake Paul. I'll give Jake Paul credit where credit's due. I actually think he's a very good promoter. He would be a very, very, very good promoter if that's what he went down, because he's a talker and he brings eyes in. Those eyes would, if he was a promoter of a number of boxers, not just Serrano in particular, but if he decided to go down that route and have his own stable.
Into Serrano's manager or promoter or something?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought.
But what I'm saying is, if it wasn't just Serrano, if it was, if he got if he got a big stable, then I can understand his followers would give eyes to those fighters. I'd get that. I'd buy that argument.
Maybe this is his master plan.
Maybe, and if that's the case, great, because I give him credit for his promotion. He's done great with Serrano.
I don't, just simply because he messed up the visa thing for Tommy Fury. So that's basics for a promoter. You have to sort the visas for the opponents. That's basics. He didn't do it. How can he be a promoter if he's not credible? So for the one where Tommy's
visa for
visa, for where the visa got rejected, he would have known that months ago. First, Tommy Fury.
No, there's a lot of other things going off then, though, Jack. I don't think it was just a visa issue,
down
was
to
it?
that.
I know, but he would have known that months in advance, but waited till the week of the fight to announce it, unless he didn't do his job. He let Tommy do it himself, which is automatically going to get rejected because the promoter has to do it.
But don't you think, Jack? Don't you think Jake Paul would have had someone doing that for him? He wouldn't have been doing that himself.
Yeah, I know, but he would have built that team. So, I mean, there's loads of promotional companies that have teams do it for them. It doesn't mean that they get absolved of blame. If Hearn made a BTEC error like that, you wouldn't be allowed to absolve himself of blame. So I'm not going to let him off blame. If he wants to be a promoter, he has to take with the good with the bad with that.
He's done a good job with Serrano, though. You can't argue.
I know, yeah, he's a good manager, but as a promoter, no.
Do you think Tommy Fury stays in this implements in boxing then?
Yes.
Because I don't think he'll go back to professional now. Not with the money he's making.
Why would he? He'd be mad to go back to real boxing. He could box on those misfit shows, and he could clean up in that division, and he'd headline so many shows doing it and make millions. He'd be mad to go back to mainstream boxing.
Depends what he wants. What he wants to be remembered for in boxing. For me, if you want to be remembered as Tyson's younger brother who beat up YouTubers and make a lot of money, as Lee said, can't fault the man. If you want to become, taken seriously as a boxer, then he needs to go proper route, I think. But I don't know whether he will or not. It's up to him.
So just a couple of comments on the side. Joe says Andy's raging. Looks like he's lost a pound and found a penny. He goes on to say there would be no call for the rematch if Tommy KO'd Jake Paul.
I think that's in response to what I said about Tommy should have proper not
Do you know the real sad thing?
He probably should have.
Yeah.
Do you know the real sad thing? The real sad thing is you got Badu Jack on the undercard, who's just become a 3-weight world champion and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
That is sad.
And that sums up
Yeah.
sums up the way the WBC are dealing with this whole situation.
Would he have had that
WBC are
opportunity if it wasn't for this fight, though?
Against
Careful,
what
Would
do
he
you
have
mean?
had that opportunity if it wasn't for this fight? Would he have had the opportunity to fight for that title? On
Who
that
put
stage?
some money up for that?
Well, it's the WBC cruiserweight title. McCarthy's got to fight somebody.
He was mandatory as well, so it would have happened eventually.
Well, there's your answer then.
It would have probably been on a Canadian show where nobody watched it and nobody's bothered. Let's be
Yeah.
honest, because he wouldn't have had no
Yeah,
profile.
but the problem is, Cole, the problem is nobody was bothered anyway.
But he
So he's
probably
got
got
to
more
win
eyeballs on
a
it.
cruiserweight
I
world
could
title.
I could argue he probably got more eyeballs on it on this platform than he would have done on a traditional platform.
He has.
I tell you-
No, he has. He has got more eyeballs on it. But
I tell you, he's talking
he's
about
got more
it.
eyeballs on it, Cole. But where's the publicity from it?
I tell you,
You
he's
get a bigger
talking
fight
about
off the
it.
back of it.
And a bigger purse.
No one
Yeah.
spoke. What? No one spoke about him. No one spoke
they
about
will-
him winning that title.
they
No one spoke
will know
about
who
him
he
being a
is now,
3-weight world
though, won't
champion.
I bet
They
he
will
earned
know
more
who
than
he
he
is
would have
now.
done.
I tell you, he's thinking about it, and they're licking the lips at it. React poor.
Oh, they should be queuing up, shouldn't they? They should be queuing
Chris
up.
Phillips
Oh.
Smith.
They'll have
Yeah.
to go out there to
Well,
fight
the
him.
thing
though.
is, whether it was on that show or whether it was on a show in Canada with no one watching it, Carl, it's still the WBC cruiserweight world title, and the rankings would have still been the same. So whoever would have got that shot against Makabu and beat Makabu because he's about 90 now, they're still going to fight the next person, whether it's on a show where there's millions of eyeballs
Jack's
watching it or
older.
not.
But
Bring you back to my original point. The purse would have been a lot higher on that show out in Saudi Arabia than it would have been on other shows.
I'm not interested in the person. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, but they are.
They are.
True.
Do you think Ratpor would? So if Ratpor's offered 8 million to go and fight on one of these shows, or 500,000 to go and fight on a traditional show, which one's he going to choose?
We all
He's
know.
not going on that show, though, is he? Because
I'm not saying it's
he's
right.
contracted to Sky.
I'm just saying commercially, that's where we are, isn't it?
Andy, here's one for you. Because of the way the rankings work, and I read into this right, Tommy Fury is now the top 15. So in theory,
Top 40.
Pick
He's in the
top
top
40.
40, not the top 15.
I thought he'd been put in the top 15 because he was.
Top
40.
quarter.
It was showing 16 the other day.
Top 40 of what, Jake?
WBC rankings.
Which means
For
nothing to be honest.
what? Light heavyweight? Because that fight wasn't
Cruiser,
wasn't
isn't it?
at light heavyweight. It wasn't at cruiserweight. It was catchweight.
Cruiser, I think.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
He's been put in the top 15
No,
WBC
Top
cruiserweight.
40.
I thought it
40.
was top 15, which was
No, it's not, Jack.
because he's definitely
Well,
eligible for
then
the
the
international
WBC are
title, 'cause
becoming
they
a
were
laughing
talking
stock
about
and
it.
a joke, then,
Well,
aren't they?
let's be right. WBC are obviously eating some of Conor Benn's eggs, aren't
Allegedly.
Well, 100
Quite clearly,
What,
mate.
168 egg omelette?
they? Yeah. Come on.
The thing is, right? WBC has always been seen as the prestigious belt, hasn't it?
Yeah. To me, as
So
I think it's the best looking one.
there's
but-
so much history. There's so much history with that with the WBC, and they're undoing all of their long history and long prestige by doing something stupid like putting the winner of that fight in the top 40. Because I tell you what that is, lads. That's very, very dangerous for Tommy Fury in this instance. It's very, very dangerous because now he might have to fight somebody in the top 40.
Do you know
Well,
how awful some of those fighters in the top 40 are?
Awful.
yeah, shocking.
Awful.
Yeah. But that's
He'd
why I
walk
said
through half of them.
it depends
Jake Paul would
what
walk through
it depends what Tommy wants to do. If Tommy wants to make a shit ton of money by beating YouTubers up, great. But you'll not be considered. You'll not be taken seriously as a boxer if you do that. Or does he want to be taken serious and try and go the English title, British title, European title, world title. I'm not saying he's going to win any of them, but you know, is that what he wants to do?
I know where I'd put my last pound.
This is kind of what I'm getting at, Daz. This is kind of what I'm getting at. But boxing has gone away from wanting to be world champion, wanting to win titles, wanting to have that gold around your waist. It's gone away from that, and it's all about money.
Yeah.
Not for everyone. I think there are fighters out there that, I mean, I'll give you an example from the recent past. Bellew got paid peanuts for the world title fight, apparently. The Carberry fight.
You know why? Because Bellew, that's all Bellew's ever dreamed of since being a kid, is winning a world title. The problem is this generation now, that's not the main goal. The main goal is how much am I getting paid? It's sad, mate. Boxing's not what it was.
It
It's still
is
a job,
but,
isn't it?
yeah, I agree with that to a certain degree, Andy.
To an
but I
extent,
also
yeah.
think
It's
that-
not. It's nice to have ambition, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is nice to have ambition, but you've got to make money
Yeah.
as well.
Boxers have got to
You
make
do have to
money.
make money. I get that.
They
I get that,
deserve
but
to make
do
money.
you
They deserve
make
to
money?
money.
You do. It's a short career and it's a very dangerous sport.
Yeah,
And
they
everyone
deserve
deserves to earn what they can earn. Absolutely agree. But when a fighter goes down a gym as a kid or when they first actually go down a gym, are they dreaming of making money, or are they dreaming of winning world titles?
When you're a kid, you don't understand that concept of life and bills and mortgages and this, that, and the other.
I think they sort of, when you walk into a gym, it depends what age you are, but I think if you get a 13, 14-year-old kid who goes into a gym and it's his first time and he's a world champion in that gym, I think they'll look at the world champion and they want what he's doing, what he's got. So I think that includes the cars, the world title. I think it includes a bit of everything. But it's like Lee said, until they grow older and realise what they just see the style, don't they? The lifestyle. And to be fair, that could it's probably a good thing that they don't, know the value of things at that time, because then that's where from that age up until probably 18, 19, that's where they get the fundamentals, and that's all they want to do, train alongside these people. But
in an ideal world, though, Andy, 100%, it'd be nice to see that ambition.
This is why you don't get. I'll use America as an example. This is why you don't get the massive fights between the massive stars very often in America, because if the money's not right, they won't do it. So they don't consider the legacy to be priority. They consider how much they're going to get paid for that fight to be priority. It's not like they don't think to themselves, I want in 20 years' time when I've retired, I want people to remember me for fighting everybody and for being the best in my era. They don't think that. They think in 20 years' time, I want to be sat on a beach and not have to worry about stuff, and that's fine. But in my opinion, with world titles comes money.
Should do.
With success comes money.
Not always. Not always.
Yeah, it should do. But
I just find it disappointing and saddening, just from a personal point of view, because of how I view boxing and how I view boxers from eras gone by. 80s, 90s fighters that, the money wasn't around then, and it wasn't a be all and end all, and but their priority was they wanted to be the best.
Yeah, do you know if we're gonna?
That's gone in a lot of instances now.
If we're gonna slate Jake and Tommy, and listen, I'm one of his biggest fans.
Mayweather.
I idolize the geezer. I think what's he doing?
What was that all about Saturday night? It was empty.
What's he doing? What is he doing?
Absolutely shocking cause.
What's he playing at? And that, I mean, someone shared something on Twitter about something on the undercard. Two ladies with head guards on who look
Yeah.
like, well, I
See,
mean,
that made a mockery of the sport.
yeah,
Not,
I mean,
not Paul Fury. That made a mockery.
yeah,
of the sport.
that made Paul and Fury look top class. Whereas that were, I mean, that was, I don't know what that were. To be fair, I'm a bit.
And I'll be amazed, Daz, if whoever put that on it broke
Am I
even.
right in thinking?
They cannot have broke even.
But that
with
don't
that.
matter. It don't, I mean, that don't matter to Floyd, does it? Floyd's got what Floyd's got.
It'll
Anyway.
matter to someone though, Daz, won't it?
Of
Someone's
course it
got to
will.
pick
Yeah,
up the
of course
bill.
it will. Yeah, but I just think, what are you doing? What are you doing?
And he's
Why
calling that his UK debut as well, which is even more of an insult,
Oh,
isn't it?
mate, honestly, I don't know. I mean, listen, the guy, I was one of his biggest fans. I think he was one of them. He had 2 careers. He was that good. He were a murderous puncher when he were younger as a super feather.
Pretty
And that-
boy, then won it.
Yeah, yeah, and then he just turned into a defensive. I mean, he's always obviously defensively good, but then he just turned into that good a defensive fighter. He made people look silly, who have who were fantastic fighters.
Yeah.
And then he's sharing ring with Aaron Chalmers. It's like, come on, Floyd. I mean,
Crazy.
what are you doing? What are you doing? And then you've got Aaron Chalmers. I mean, he was a reality TV guy, I believe, with Geordie Shaw.
Yeah.
I know he went into mixed martial arts. That's last I heard. And then
Yeah.
next minute, he's a professional boxer. I think Adam Booth was training him as well, if I remember right. And then it's like, fair enough. He's obviously serious. If he's gone to Adam Booth, and Adam Booth, to me, won't take anybody on. He'll just, but then again, how much is he paying Adam Booth? You know what I mean? He's money talking again. And then he's in ring with Floyd Mayweather, one of best of a generation. How many fighters would have loved?
Yeah.
Not to box in an exhibition with Floyd, but behind closed doors, how much would a lot of fighters have given just to do 6-8 rounds with Floyd sparring and have a bit of technical input off him? Do you know what I mean? And then, but yet he's in there with this Aaron Chalmers, and like Lee said, undercard were that fight with them girls were. No, I mean, I don't know what that were about.
I mean, to be honest, the worst one for me was Lovejoy. How do you get knocked out in an exhibition?
Is that the one with body shot?
Yeah.
He just stayed on the floor. Funny enough, I was speaking to him about 2 days before that on a Twitter space, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to show the UK public what I've got," and I'm thinking, "Oh, this will be interesting."
I interviewed him that morning. I interviewed him the day of the fight.
Was he still saying that? Because he did
Yeah.
show the UK public what he's got.
Not a lot.
I don't want to see again.
Not a lot. He ain't got a lot.
Is he still trying to get the Johnny Fisher fight then?
Yeah.
Right.
That'll last about 2 rounds. If
Yeah.
that.
The board won't sanction that now.
No. So they shouldn't either.
Rightly. You know
Johnny
how hard
Fisher's-
it is to get anyone to
Johnny
the board to
Fisher's
sanction
not going to
anything.
learn out from that. Johnny Fisher's not going to learn out from that. So what?
And any matchmaker who tries to do it needs to shake their head a bit, because that's dangerous. If Johnny Fisher could put her out.
I know a couple who will make that.
Jack, I think there's an issue with your sound, mate. I don't know if it's just for me or not.
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah,
well,
you keep dropping out, Jack.
My sound was on my phone instead of through my headphone mic. Should be all right now.
So I think we've done that crossover boxing to death. So let's move on to Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis. Let's go on to some serious boxing. So obviously it looks like April the 22nd. It's going to be a great fight for me. We'll start off with Sean. Sean, what do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to it. For who I think will win, I think Tank will win. I just think he'll get to him in the fight. We saw Ryan Garcia in with Luke Campbell probably 2 or 3 years ago now, didn't we? And Luke Campbell wasn't really noted as a puncher. He put Garcia down. So, yeah, I think if Davis gets to him, I think he'll stop him sort of late rounds, around 10, 11.
Interesting. Andy, we'll come to you next. So give us your thoughts on it, on the potential, well, it's virtually signed, so they tell us, Davis versus Garcia. How do you see it playing out?
I think we're still to see whether Ryan Garcia's got a chin or not. Because he's that quick. How many fights he's been in, no one's really landed.
Luke Campbell did.
Dropped him.
And Tank it's very hard. But Tank it's very hard. If Tank lands, it's good night. Ryan, I like Ryan Garcia. You can argue he's come from the socials in a way.
Oh, I don't know.
But he's very dangerous.
Stretch.
He's very. What I mean is, he's very good on social media.
Very good.
He's one of these. He
sells himself well.
He's one of these. Of what he's done. He has, absolutely, and you got to give him credit for that. And it's probably got him to the position that he's in some ways. He can fight. Don't get me wrong. He's very quick. The problem for me is he leaves his chin up in the air when he's throwing shots, and he's going to get tagged. And I think Tank's going to tag him. I think he'll stop him. I think he'll knock him out in fairly short fashion as well, because of the style that Garcia has. I think Tank's one of these fighters, though, that he'll take his time and pick his shots. If he wanted to, I think he could finish it early. It'll probably be, thinking about it, it'll probably be around round 7, round 8 when he steps on the gas, when Ryan's pace drops a little bit. But the one thing, and he's never corrected it, in my opinion, Ryan Garcia, is he throws shots. When he throws hooks and his chin's in the air, and when he comes out of a shot, when he comes away from a shot, his chin's still in the air. That's never changed. And in my opinion, because of that, he'll get tagged.
Lee?
I think Tank will win, but I don't know. Garcia is very, very good, very quick. I do have this feeling that Garcia could be a bit of a surprise package, like Devin Haney was for me. I thought I didn't really think much of Devin Haney until he went to fight Kambosos twice in Australia, and I thought, wow, he actually is class. I got this feeling that we haven't seen the best of Garcia, but I do think Tank is too powerful. If he catches him at any point in those 12 rounds, which he should, I think he'd get the job done. But it's a brilliant, brilliant fight.
Jack?
I'm going to be quite boring here, because I think the same as most people. I could actually see a situation where Garcia's up on the cards and Tank ends up stopping him, being behind in the fight.
Short and sweet, Jack. Daz?
Pretty much think Tank will win, but I think if Tank goes into the fight thinking all I've got to do is hit him and he'll go, could backfire. You know, that could backfire. Just have to be smart with him. You know, negate his speed, really. Timing. Work on his timing, get inside and work that way. But if he just has that plan where he thinks, oh, if I can hit him at any point and stop him, it could backfire. But I do think Tank will catch up to him. I do think Tank will grind him down and beat him around 9 or 10, I think.
Interesting. So final topic of the night, then I'll bring us back to these shores. Quite an intriguing fight on Saturday night. Ohara Davies versus Lewis Ritson. So we'll go with Andy on this one. Give us your prediction, Andy, for this intriguing fight. It's on Fight TV, by the way, just to avoid any confusion. And the winner is likely to get a WBA world title shot.
What?
It's a final eliminator.
Yeah.
Winners,
Seriously?
So that's
yeah,
it.
the
I mean,
winners mandatory.
Richardson's done a full circle here, hasn't he? So, Andy, go on.
Hara Davis has as well.
Yeah.
Hara Davis really, really frustrates me because I actually think in his early part of his career, he had all the talent in the world. I don't know what went wrong, but he got beat. He got beat by people he perhaps shouldn't have lost to. His career went sideways. He made a load of comments that didn't sit very well with people. He rubbed promoters up the wrong way, and kind of found himself a bit in the wilderness.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I think that's a bit of a disservice to O'Hara, to be fair, because he's lost to Josh Taylor and Jack Catchell.
No, yeah, I get that. I get that.
But I do get what you mean. He has not very talented lad, and he frustrates me as well, mate. I totally agree with you.
He hasn't pushed on though, has he? It's kind of what I'm trying to say.
No.
If talent's got anything to do with it, Hara Davis wins this fight quite convincingly. I don't know, mate, because I think they're both in a very weird stage of the career. I can't believe this is a final eliminator for a world title. I'm shocked at that. I didn't know that. That's kind
Phil
of
Jeffries and Lee Eaton are very good managers, clearly.
Yeah, clearly.
Must be.
I don't understand how they've got into that position. They've not. Neither of them have proved it.
I know how Ritson did because he beat the guy who was WBA number 2.
Right.
On one of the Pro Bellum cards. But I don't have a clue who Hara Davis has beat. That's unless it's just a combination of wins, but
It's very strange.
Ritson beat some random Mexican who was ranked number 2. But
I'm going to go for a Hara Davis points win.
Lee?
It's a difficult one to call, isn't it? I think the best Ritson beats the best Hara Davies, but I don't think Ritson turns it on enough. He's only ever shown flashes of his brilliance, but yeah, I'd stick with. If I had to put I'd probably go Hara Davies, either late stoppage or points.
Jack?
I was actually at the presser today, and so I was watching both of them, and I just think I've got to go with the lad from where I'm living, Ritson by knockout in the 10th for me.
Daz? Just as you're taking a slurp of your tea?
Yeah, mate, yeah. I think Hara Davis stops him. I think he's, if he turns up, but we don't know what Hara Davis is going to turn up.
No.
I don't think he does.
No, exactly. I mean, but if Hara Davis starts to fulfill his talent, then I think he's a better fighter than Ritson.
It depends who wants it more, doesn't it? It's one of them. I know it's easy to say, but it really is one of them.
It is, yeah. It is at this stage, definitely. Definitely. I just think that I think Hara Davis got a better skill set. Maybe that's the wrong word, skill set. Maybe he's just a bit, he's a little bit unorthodox, sometimes in things he does.
I can't believe they've made the show pay-per-view though on Fight TV.
Is it pay-per-view?
Yeah.
It's 15 quid. I may as well just go though because it's up the road.
Sporting Icons were going to stream it, weren't they? But now Fight TV have picked it up. But 15 quid.
I mean,
they couldn't get TV.
Why?
I mean, it's not like it's Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury.
Don't set him off. Don't set him off. We've gone off of that. How can? I mean, it's a decent fight, but I'm not saying it's worthy of eliminator. But it's a decent domestic fight. So,
Good
Why
trade,
has
buy.
no TV picked it up?
Yeah.
I don't get that. Why?
I think it's to do with the exclusivity, though. So, like, Matchroom's might have exclusive UK rights with DAZN, Boxer with Sky.
So I've just
Channel
been
5.
Sean, I'll come to you in a minute. Is that your prediction done, Daz? So
Yes,
you're saying
mate, sorry, yeah, that's me done. Yeah.
So just before I come to you, Sean, Joe says it went wrong for Harley Davis when Matchroom encouraged him to make daft comments and threw him under the bus. Joe says Davis KO'd Ritson at the back end of his career on the way down. Sean.
Yeah, it's a hard one to call. I think they're both fairly inactive these days, aren't they? If it was the Lewis Ritson of 4 or 5 years ago when he was blowing people out at lightweight, I think he would win. However, now I think probably O'Hara Davis has just got too much, and he'll win fairly wide on points, I think.
Yeah, just from our 10 Pennyworth, I think O'Hara Davis will stop him around 7-8. I think Ritson's been found out every time he reaches a certain level, be it at lightweight or super lightweight. I don't particularly rate him anywhere near anything above European level. And I think Davis has still got a lot to show us. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet, if I'm honest. We don't quite know how good he is.
Carl, you've gone exactly what he called.
Say again.
So he actually said that he'd stop
Did
him
I?
at 7 or 8. Yeah.
Well, I'm in good company then, aren't I?
Yeah.
So I think I'll go for Davis, especially with a world title shot being on the table. It should motivate him, shouldn't it? I think that's a big factor with Davis, motivating him. So that's my call. So 5 minutes left to go then, gents. Anything you want to throw in that we want to discuss before we bring the show to an end? I'm keeping it quite timely this week. So, Andy, anything from you?
I just wanted to touch on the WBC calling Liam Smith as mandatory for the light middleweight champion. I just wanted to get everyone's thoughts on what they thought of that, and does he go back down there or does he stay at middleweight?
Well, I think he'll fight Eubank next. So
Billy Joe Saunders has thrown himself in as well, hasn't he?
Who has? Sorry,
Billy Joe.
Billy Joe has, yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about fighting Andre, didn't he? That's who he reckons he's in talks already.
He's also spoke to Liam directly on social media, I believe, and said, "Look, I respect you, and let's do it." And Liam put back, "You know me, Bill. What weight you thinking?" I think it's a shame, Billy Joe. I mean, I know we were talking about Liam Smith, but I think it's a shame Billy Joe's being this inactive. I mean, I know it's probably through a bit of injury from what happened, but a fantastic fighter, Billy Joe. Quality.
Naturally, really, really good.
Yeah.
Go on,
Jack.
At one point, I would have said he's the most naturally gifted boxer in Britain, but not now. But there was a point where I actually
a little bit too inactive though, Jack.
That was his one fault. Always.
I
would agree with you on that.
That's a question. Who do we believe is the most naturally gifted then at the minute?
Adam Azim.
I quite like Dennis McCann.
Yeah. Come on then, Sean. If you can hear me.
Sean froze?
I think so, yeah.
Naturally gifted, I'd still... It's going to sound controversial because I know he lost it. He lost the last one, but everyone apart from the 3 judges, but Taylor still.
Josh Taylor.
Yeah, I still think he's the most naturally gifted.
Obviously, we're not including. I'd say Dennis McCann, but that's without talking about Jake Paul, obviously.
Well, you said Britain, so you're all right.
Yeah,
Britain. I didn't want to put the world scene on, Jack.
What do you think, Daz?
Well, I can only say one corner. I can't say anyone other. It's got to be Nicola Hurricane Oakwell, hasn't it? No, I think Adam Adam Azim's technically brilliant. Dalton Smith as well. I know he's not been great in his last
Brilliant.
few fights,
Still
but
got the W.
fights.
I think he'll rise as his opponents go up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fighters who we can say, listen, they're naturally gifted, technically very good. A lot of them, and I think a major trait of some of them is that they'll keep evolving and learning, and then they'll just get better and better. And you've got to, as your opponents get better and better, you've got to get better.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you'll come unstuck. So, and I'll be honest. I know. Listen, I'll shout to End of Earth, but I will class Nicola in that. She's evolving. She's evolving with every training session. To be fair,
just needs a platform, don't she? Just needs a big opportunity, don't she? I mean, obviously, there's a Misfit show on Milton Keynes at the weekend, but I'm assuming that's a bit earlier.
Yeah, she'll not be on out like that. No. But
yeah,
behave yourself, Michael. Enough's enough. The joke's wearing a bit thin.
All joking aside, she needs a boxer show. Would be nice, wouldn't it? A Sky Sports.
Did you see the other day when Boxer put on Twitter, what fighter should we sign? I started the ball rolling and put Nicola. And the amount of people
who put Nicola
that followed that and put Nicola. And I tell you, I sing her praises, and I do because I see her day in, day out. Yeah. I see her day in, day out, and I see what she does, and and the different things she's adding to herself, and she takes it all in her stride. And
well, let's hope that phone rings, Dazzy.
Yeah, I hope so, mate. But it's got to be right for her as well. I mean, it won't just be a case of if Matchroom or anyone ringing. Listen, she's not going to get rushed, and she's not going to get thrown to wolves. Just
that's the one thing, Daz. I'm glad she's with you because I know you won't allow that to happen.
No. Listen, if she got offered a fight let's say she got offered a fight 2 weights above her natural weight, but it's on an undercard, it's going to be on telly. I know some trainers who take that just so they can get the face on telly.
Yeah.
I will walk away from her first. If any team of her team take that fight and I don't agree with it, then they do it without me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. My priority is Nicola.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I can back him up. He is like that because every opponent, like with the last GBM show, I was the one matching her. And the amount of times I would go through every opponent with you that we looked at, wouldn't I?
Yeah, I mean, people
looked over everyone personally.
Yeah, some people were wanting to fight people who were natural featherweights, and while she'd got the talent over him, listen, they can punch a bit, and why should she? She's a super flyweight. I mean, she's made flyweight to get an opponent. She's not a flyweight. She's a super flyweight. The best of Nicola's going to be as a super flyweight. Yeah. And why should she? I mean, she's getting 7-8 pound away on her debut, and still stopped a girl who's never don't get stopped. It's about time she has things on her, on her level now. Let's have right weight, same weight. I mean, the last girl was brilliant. She made the weight, very professional.
To be honest, I'll use her again. She was great.
Yeah, he brought the best out of Nicola, didn't it? That I'd argue it's probably the best performance I've seen from Nicola. That last performance.
Do you know what? Right, and I'm not usually one of them who will be who'll let things, little. I won't call them secrets, but sparring, she don't get hit. She's hardly getting hit, and I'm sure if Amy, who's watching this, who spars with her, she'll back it up. She actually said after sparring last night, she went, she threw a couple of punches, then she's countered me, and then I'm like, where's she gone? You know what I mean? And it's just a case of adding things to her, and if she becomes as elusive as I know she's going to be, and she's as powerful as she is, she's as fast as she is, and a massive factor, as fit as she is, I mean,
Oh,
she's out of
that's
camp and
huge.
she's sparring eight rounds easy.
I said this to you after that last fight, Daz. Me and Carl were both at ringside, and we both looked at Nick's opponent, and she was absolutely shattered.
Yeah,
Nick didn't look like she was blowing.
she
She
weren't.
could have done another 8 rounds
She weren't.
easily.
Yeah.
That is a massive factor. Nick's fitness is a massive factor. It's not the be all and end all. It's not the only factor, but it's a massive factor because not getting tired the way other fighters get tired means she's not going to lose form.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, mate. 1,000,000%. She'll still keep her shape and power and speed from round 6 to 10.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
In fact, I'd go as far as to say I think she gets better as the rounds go on.
yeah, she does. She does. And I tell you what, I tell you what as well. Do you know if women's boxing introduced 3-minute rounds,
Oh,
the super flyweights are in trouble. They're in serious trouble. I've seen that girl spar 10 threes with 3 different sparring partners. And do you know the best thing about the last fight as well? I were wrapping her hands and she was a little bit quiet. And I said,
I noticed that.
what's up with you? And she went, no. I went, well, there is. So what's up? She went, oh, just a little bit nervous. I went, what about? I went, and she says, ring walk. I went, ring walk. And she went, yeah, it's massive, isn't it? And it's like all lights. And I went, well, it is what it says on label. She goes, what do you mean? I went, ring walk, 1 foot in front of the other, smile on your face. You walk.
Just enjoy that bit.
Yeah, and did you see her when she walked at ring? She had the biggest grin on her face I've ever. And I'm like, why are you grinning? You're about to have a fight, woman. Why are you grinning? And I tell you what, she handles, nerves, and because she has got a lot of expectation on her. She really has.
Yeah.
I don't know many 3-fight novices. Well, I say call her novice, but 3-fight professionals who have, got the expectation she's got on her.
Yeah.
And she thrives on it. She really doesn't. It's not changed a one bit. Only thing it's changed, and I've noticed it, and this is bad news for some super flyweights. She's starting to believe in herself fully. Do you know what I mean?
I was chatting to her before the weigh-in, and she says to me, "I'm really, really nervous." And she looked when she got up on the scales, and when she was being interviewed after she weighed in, she looked nervous. And then she come off and she went, "That was brilliant."
Yeah.
I think the more she does that kind of thing, because that's a part of boxing that isn't natural, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's not what she's used to doing. No. Anyone that sees Nick out of the boxing side of things, she's a very kind of quiet, very, very respectful, very nice individual, isn't she?
Yeah.
And as soon as she steps into that ring and the bell goes, it's like a different person.
Yeah, it's. I've actually asked her. I think I've told you guys on a trip home one night from sparring. I actually turned to her in car and said, "Can I ask you something?" And she went, "Yeah." I says, "What do you think when you're in ring?" And she goes, "What do you mean?" I says, "Well, what do you think?" She went, "No, really. Just I'm going to punch her and just think about what you've told me to do and stuff." And I'm like, it's just in you. If it's in you, it's in you, isn't it?
Yeah.
That just proves it.
Yeah.
But
She made me, and I've told you this, Daz. She made me laugh the day after, though. She messaged me saying thank you. I'm like,
she says it to me all the time, mate.
yeah.
Thank you. I says it's my job. I'm your trainer.
That's what I said it to her. Literally, that's my job. I do this for a living.
Yeah.
Don't just sit at home all day, like. But,
yeah, she's very humble, and I think no matter what she could. I mean, I've actually said to her, and it is in a way to try and take a bit of pressure off her. But I do stand by this. No matter what she does from now, let's say she never wins a title or a world title, a Commonwealth title, whatever. She's Worksop's first female professional fighter. Worksop will never have another first female professional fighter. She's etched in history now. She's in history. She's etched in the annals, as we call it. She's etched in history. She's in boxing news. She's been in it, you know. So anything now is a bonus. And do you know what she said to me when I said it to her? She looked at me and went, "Yeah, but let's do it proper." You know, and she's starting to believe in herself 100%. She believes in what she's capable of, and look how she's been these past two fights previous. You know, not believing in herself 100%, and she produces that. She doesn't still believe in herself 100% now, and look what she produced.
Yeah.
So what's she going to be like when she looks at herself in the mirror and 99.9% thinks, "Yeah, I'm the best. No one can live with me."
It does make me laugh because the one thing she said when she was coming over to the board, and I remember because I messaged her just as she was turning pro. She'd already gone with you, and she was in the middle of signing with Joe and stuff. And I messaged her to ask her something, and I remember her asking her like, "What do you want to do?" And she was like, "I want to box at Bramall Lane."
Pro debut.
Bramall Lane. I was like, "Oh, brilliant!
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Job done. We can all go home now."
But according to some people, that's a step down.
Yeah, I read this. You've had this
I think that's a perfect place, Daz, to bring the show to a close.
before I get myself in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
Daz,
I'm a bit.
thanks for joining, fella. Great input again. Like I say, you're more than welcome whenever you want to join the show. But thanks for joining, Jack. Thanks for joining, fella. Cheers to Sean, who's dropped off. Cheers to Lee, who's dropped off. Thank you for all the comments on the side. Same time every week, 7 p.m. Let's Bell Boxing. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next week.
See you later, guys.